Hey guys, we have a question from a viewer. It says, my 1.5-year-old son has type 1 diabetes. We are starting him on an insulin pump. What is the best insulin pump for a toddler? Okay, so when you get an insulin pump, you are on contract with the insulin pump company generally for 4 years. So this means that if you get him an insulin pump when he's 1.5, he won't become eligible for another one until he's 5.5. So you have a really important decision to make. You need to think about what's going to be the best insulin pump for my toddler and what's going to be the best pump as he moves through his preschool years. So currently the most commonly prescribed insulin pump for toddlers and young children is going to be the OmniPod, and we'll get to more about why that is later. However, I don't think that this is going to be the preferred pump as we move into 2019. The OmniPod has been slow to integrate a CGM, and I think that's going to be a real deal breaker for some parents. So let's get started. Let's go over the 3 major insulin pumps on the market right now. We have the Medtronic 67G, the OmniPod, which is going to become the OmniPod Dash in 2019, and the TSlim 2X. Okay, so let's talk about the Medtronic 67G. This is the pump, and it is a tubed insulin pump, which means the insulin is delivered through a tube. It connects to the pump, and then the insulin is delivered into the body through a cannula. And it also has an integrated continuous glucose monitor. This is the transmitter, and it wirelessly sends the glucose data to the pump every 5 minutes. So the main benefit with this insulin pump is that it has the ability to suspend insulin delivery if hypoglycemia is detected based on the data from the continuous glucose monitor. And it also has the ability to adjust basal insulin delivery. So if you over-bolus or under-bolus your child, it can help you adjust that and lead to a more level line. So you won't have these ups and downs as much, ideally. However, some of the cons, the CGM is not very accurate. I have heard from a lot of people that it can be 50 to 75 points off. So when you are adjusting insulin levels based on data from a CGM that's giving you bad results, it's not going to be helpful. So that's a real problem with this pump. They are updating their algorithm, and that will probably not be the case, hopefully in 2019, but right now it's not a great system. And let's see. The insulin pump is a tubed pump, so with tubed pumps, you do lose out on some of the insertion site locations, so you really shouldn't go on the arms or the legs with a toddler because you're going to risk tangling or detachment of the infusion set. So you're going to mainly have it on the stomach, the back, or the upper buttocks. And that's going to be with any tubed insulin pump. You also have a manual insertion of the infusion set, so you're going to have to either hold your child down, bribe them to get this cannula underneath the skin. It does pinch a little bit, but sometimes it's very hard to hold your child down and stick a needle inside of them. So those are some of the cons with that pump. Okay, so let's talk about the OmniPod system. So the OmniPod is the only tubeless insulin pump. So insulin is placed into a pod that looks like this, and the pod is attached to the body, and you control the insulin delivery on a personal diabetes manager, a PDM. So the benefits to this pump and why it's the most commonly prescribed is that you do not have to hold your child down to insert the cannula. So you just place the pod on the body and you press a button on the PDM and the cannula automatically inserts. So this is really important, so you don't have to hold your child down to insert the tubed insertion site. A lot of parents like that feature about the OmniPod. Another pro to the OmniPod is that you have more places to place the pod. So with the tubed insulin pumps, you can go on the stomach, the back, upper buttocks, but you really can't go on the arms and the legs as much because the tube gets tangled or detached. With the OmniPod, you don't have that problem because you're not attached to a tube. So that's another benefit. The drawback to the OmniPod is it does not have a continuous glucose monitor that's integrated. So you don't have the ability to have the pump automatically suspend glucose, or insulin, when glucose levels are dropping or if hypoglycemia is detected, and that probably won't be a feature on the OmniPod for several years. So while the OmniPod is very convenient for toddlers, it does have its drawbacks, and I think that the major drawback of not having a CGM is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of parents. Okay, so moving on to the TSlim. This is one of my favorite insulin pumps. The company really takes into consideration what the community of pumpers really wants, and they integrate that into their insulin pumps. So I don't have one with me, and I apologize for that, but it is the only touchscreen insulin pump, and it integrates with the Dexcom. So this is a Dexcom transmitter right here, and it is very accurate. It is very, very accurate. I have used one myself, and it is usually spot on, and I actually used the older version when I was on it, and I loved it. It was very accurate, and the newer version is even more accurate. So love it. The great thing about the TSlim is that in 2019 they will have the ability for the pump to adjust insulin delivery, so that it will suspend insulin delivery if hypoglycemia is detected, and it can automatically adjust the basal insulin delivery. So this is great because we now have an insulin pump that it's going to have a reliable continuous glucose monitor that has the ability to auto adjust the insulin delivery. So very happy about that, and I think a lot of parents are going to want this insulin pump because of that feature. Okay, so to sum it up, I think in 2019, the pump that's gonna become the preferred pump for probably all people, but for children and young people, is going to be the TSlim, because of that very accurate CGM and the fact that the insulin pump is now going to be able to adjust insulin delivery, suspend it if a low is detected, and adjust the basal insulin delivery. So if I had a child that was going on an insulin pump, I would probably choose the TSlim. So thank you for watching, guys. I would really love to hear your comments. Have you had a kid on an insulin pump? What'd you like? What didn't you like? If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them. I will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. And thanks for watching.